Am I in, Sandy?
Yes, you're fine. When, after the chairman makes all the announcements,
Right.
I'll pull you up so that you can, go be on screen and you can share your screen and all those other things.
Yeah, I'm not really too good at sharing screens. I don't even know what to do with that.
Well, you may not have to. They just might want to just maybe hear your application, just like briefly.
Yeah, I have a presentation already.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we have to, I can pull up pictures and hold them up because I'm not that great at sharing it either.
Yeah. So should I just mute for now?
Yeah, I think it'll take a while for everybody to sign on.
All right. So I'll mute, but I'm here.
Okay.
This is May 6th.
Sorry. Okay.
That's okay. Good evening. This is the May 16th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Ossining. My name is Sal Carrera, Chairman, and joining me this evening are members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, Town Attorney, Building Inspector, and our esteemed Secretary. Please introduce yourselves for the record.
David Krieger, member.
Tom Wills, member.
David O'Neill, member.
John Hamilton, building inspector.
Christy Adana, attorney.
Sandy Anelli, secretary.
Thank you. We have two hearings this evening. I will read the public notice and then request the applicant or their representatives to give a brief explanation of the relief sought. Anyone that has a comment should basically raise their hands and state their name and address. After the comments are received, the board will try to render a decision this evening. The first one. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Town of Ossining Zoning Board of Appeals will be held on Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. on the application of Rosalind Brown, 20 Old Albany Post Road, Ossining, New York. The meeting will be held via Zoom video conference using the login information available below. The property is located at 20 Old Albany Post Road in the unincorporated area of the town of Ossining, identified on the tax map of the town of Ossining as section 80.18, block 2, lot 23 in the NC Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District. The applicant is seeking a special permit for an accessory apartment, chapter 200-31.2, accessory apartments on single-family lots. Application material and plans prepared by I&I Architects, PLLC, 857 Route 35, Cross River, New York, dated October 10, 2021, are available for public inspection at the Town of Ossining Building Department or online. All interested persons are invited to public hearing to be heard on this matter. The public can send written comments by email to the Building Department of the Town of Ossining.com or regular mail to the Town of Ossining Zoning Board of Appeals. Please feel free to contact our office by phone. If you need any information regarding the Zoning Board of Appeals, please call us at 914-762-8419. By order of the Zoning Board of Appeals, Sal Carrera, Chairman, dated May 6, 2022. Do we have anyone here representing the applicant? Sandy, I assume that the architect knew about the meeting tonight?
I am on. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Williams, thank you. Thank you for
No
joining.
worries. I was waiting for the perfect time to speak. I was trying to speak early, but I guess I was on mute. Should I
problem.
join as panelist?
No problem. So we read the public notice and we'll be more than happy to listen to your presentation. And then we'll open it up for board members' questions and any public input, and then hopefully try to make a decision this evening with the application.
Okay. So in terms of presentation, did you just need me to walk you through the plans?
Yes, just give us an idea of what you're trying to do.
Okay. All right. So let me present my screen. 1 second.
Take your time. Everybody on the board received all the information that you sent to the building department. So we all have copies of what you'll be verbally telling us.
Okay. All right. Let me know when you can see my screen.
You see
Are you
it?
seeing the plans?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So this is a one-family residential home with an existing two-car garage that was located towards the back of the property. As you said before, the property is located on an NC zoning lot and it's surrounded by BE zoning. In terms of the Side yards, we're complying with all the minimum requirements for the NC zone, which are stored on the zoning information here.
Yes,
All right. What we're doing essentially is just raising the floor above the garage itself and not extending the footprint of the building. So we're basically just adding an additional an accessory apartment to the home on top of here. Let me just before I go to the next page, did we have any questions for this sheet?
the garage is gonna stay the way it is, and then the addition is gonna be upstairs above it?
That is correct. One of the garage doors, we're going to make it a little bit smaller and just use it as an accessory space. So it will be reduced from a 2-car garage to a 1-car garage with an accessory storage below.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, this was just like general zoning information regarding the home and the different inspections that will be required. This now essentially shows the demolition of what is needed, which is essentially removing the existing roof, taking down the existing rafters, and ceiling joists that are currently above the garage. It's pretty much like a storage space that's currently located above the garage. This here is showing a trench that will be cut from the existing garage to the existing house to essentially install a sanitary line to connect the bathrooms that would be in this accessory home to feed into the existing sanitary line that's currently connected to the home. And this basically gives you the sequence of how to properly demolish the home, the garage, I mean, sorry.
The question I have, is that into a septic or sewer?
It's into the public sewer building. There's no septic for here.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, this here now shows the construction. So here, this is the first floor. I added an accessory bathroom on the first floor with a electric hot water heater. We're going to replace the garage door with a new garage door and reduce the opening for this existing garage to have like French doors to let into the space. On the left side of the home, we are taking down a portion of the retaining wall to have steps going up on the outside to get to the second floor. When you get to the second floor, we have one door that comes in. We have 2 large windows here to the back that meets the minimum fresh air and egress requirements. And we have a kitchen to the front and a bathroom to the front. And all of this essentially drains back down into here, which then feeds into that pit that I described to you earlier. And then essentially I kept the same pitch that the roof had. So essentially just raising this up with a 412 pitch for the roof. This just shows that the window and door schedule that complies with energy code. All right, any questions on the ARC plans before I move on?
Not for me. Anybody? David?
No.
David?
All right, perfect, thank you. All right, this just basically shows the framing plans that tells them how to space the joists, and it's basically first floor. These are existing because we're not disturbing this portion of the garage. And then these are the ceiling and then the rafters and how everything will be laid out.
Okay.
Right. And this is a reflective ceiling plan. So we're showing hi-hats throughout the garage and accessory storage space. And on the second floor addition, we have 2 ceiling fans in this space, along with hi-hats for the bathroom and the kitchen.
Okay.
All right, keep it moving. Then these are the 4 elevations. So this essentially is the front of the home. We have the steps going up the side, replacing the garage door, some French doors here to let light into the accessory storage space. This is the side entrance coming up the stairs. We're essentially going to extend the retaining wall this way to protect the side of the garage and have the stairs come up. We're essentially maintaining the grading around the property, so we're not disturbing any grade, because we're just going straight up on this.
Okay.
This is the other side of the garage. This is the existing portion that was not disturbed. And here we have another window here above, feeding into the bedroom. This is the back of the home. These are the two windows to the back. Any questions on the elevations?
Not for me.
All right. All right, no, these are sections. So this here is the first section going through the stairs. We have a concrete stair that basically sits between the existing garage wall and a new retaining wall. Once it gets to above grade, then we switch to a regular wood stair that then brings you up to the entrance to get into the space. Along this side, we have motion sensor lights, as well as an exterior outlet in case they need to have any power to the outside of the building. Here we have a section going through the house. So this is living room here. Actually, sorry, this is the bedroom here, and this is the kitchen here, and then this is a bathroom here. All the bathroom fixtures that are on the first floor will essentially be raised, so we won't be disturbing the existing slab. So we have a wall-mounted toilet, we have the shower that's raised 6 inches above existing grade, and essentially be running all the piping to a trap that will be located in the shaft here to then feed out to the existing home.
Okay.
Here is another cross section showing all the fixtures along the front of the house. We have kitchen, bathroom, and then that's a retaining wall and foundation here as well. And then this is just a typical cross section showing how the studs and everything are constructed. We're essentially keeping all the existing walls for the garage that are not to be disturbed.
Okay.
All right. These are just, we have a plumbing riser diagram showing how all the different fixtures and appliances are connected and then run back to the existing home, which is a house sewer here. These are the retaining wall detail for the stairs, and essentially maintaining safety for excavation and maintain an angle of repose so that we don't have any soil caving in on anybody while doing the work. And this is another section of showing the rebar and this construction of the stair itself. And these are just typical wood stair details to construct the wood portion of the stairs and porch. All right, and then we have some more details here. These are just guidelines to construct the wood portion of the structure and also provide insulation, the needed insulation needed to make this compliant with energy code. So there's essentially insulation in the ceilings, walls, as well as the garage floors so that it meets all the energy requirements.
Okay.
And again, some more energy code requirements, where to caulk, how to actually put in the insulation. It's basically just make it as airtight as possible.
Question?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Hi, are you following the state energy code or the stretch code?
I was following the state energy code.
Okay, we follow the stretch code.
Okay.
So you would have to design it towards the New York State stretch code, including all the calculations, et cetera, that you would submit with the plans, just as an FYI.
Okay. Would you happen to have a reference that I could use?
Yes, if you go on the town website, go to the building department, and you'll see all our information, and gives you a link over to the stretch code.
Okay, perfect. So I'll go to the town website and I'll look that up. I could add it to the first page, essentially. I think that's where I'd noted the energy code. Okay.
John, is there a major difference between the codes?
In certain areas, there are, Sal. There's a lot more calculations that have to be submitted. It has to be some more insulation values in certain areas. Any systems that are put in have to show us testing. They'll have to probably, I'm assuming until I see the plans, we'll need blower tests. We'll need quite a few things under the stretch code. It's a little more strict.
Okay.
And this is applicable to residential apartments, not just commercial, correct?
It's applicable to residential and commercial in Ossining, yes.
Okay, understood. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, John. All right. Here, just blow up details for the kitchen. So cabinet layouts, appliance layout, and RCP. So these are just enlarged kitchen plans. Here we have enlarged bathroom plans, essentially showing tile layout, where all the fixtures would essentially be installed. And the last page is the accessory bathroom downstairs. Same thing, just it's all enlarged, showing tile layout and location for fixtures to be installed.
So, and both of the bathrooms are going to be new, or is there an existing one downstairs?
Both bathrooms will be new.
Okay, so they're going to put one in the garage area, a full bathroom?
Yes, I'll go back to the plans.
Yeah, was there a specific reason why they have two full bathrooms in a single, with just a one bedroom?
The request was made for convenience in case they're using the space for, if they're outside, it literally is just a convenient bathroom.
Well, I understand the bathroom, but it's also, if I'm not mistaken, there's a shower in there?
Yes, there's a standing shower here.
Right, so you have two full bathrooms in this.
Okay.
And on the second floor, could I just look at the floor plan again of the second floor?
Sure.
Thank
Let
you.
me zoom out a little bit. That's
Thank
good.
you. Okay, that's perfect. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome, John.
So what you're saying is that the second full bathroom down is going to be in the garage, and that's for convenience for whom?
It's convenience for the person that's up here, because she may be using this space for maybe, I'm not sure, like a workshop or a workout, if you want to exercise and don't want to trek back outside to get back in.
Okay.
So
Can you tell me the total square footage for the apartment, including the bathroom downstairs?
great question. I should have that on the front. Let's see here. Did the actual coverage. All right, so I did not calculate the addition because there wasn't a number, but I can tell you what the total square footage is here.
So I have a
24.
couple questions related to that as well, because related to floor area as while you're calculating it, because the zoning indicates that the minimum square footage of a unit is 300 square feet and a maximum of 800 square feet, and the area of the accessory apartment shall also not exceed 33% of the habitable floor area of the principal building. So I didn't see the square footage for the principal building. And when I did a rough takeoff of the second floor plus the area on the ground floor, it's roughly 840 square feet.
Okay, so the additional apartment is going to be 575 square feet, rounding up. When I was looking at the NC code there, I did not see any guidelines in terms of maximum lot coverage. I only saw coverage, but not FAR. Looking at this table here. So
There's a separate section of the code that deals explicitly with accessory apartments.
got you. Okay, understood.
So
The bottom line with this variance is that you cannot be more than 800 square feet.
For the house as well as that's in 800 in addition to the house.
It has to-
33% of the habitable floor area of the principal building. So
at a max at 800.
Okay, so if I'm at 575, is that good?
At 575, or you listen, you can go up to 800. Yeah, but not to exceed 33% of the habitable floor area of the principal building. So what number is that, including the bathroom and the garage?
Well, the bathroom and the garage, let's go back to the floor plan. So would we count the existing garage as habitable floor space, or would I count this only or would I count the bathroom plus accessory storage?
John, I had a question with regards to that, because this is going to be in the garage, which is a separate building and not in the main building. Does that affect the 800 feet and 33% of the habitable floor space of the principal building?
They did not specify a difference. If you see it, it still says 33% of the main building. It did not say except that if it's in an accessory building. So as far as I can see, if I'm reading the zoning code figuratively, or literally, excuse me, it would be a 33% irregardless of it being in an accessory structure. That's my feeling on this.
Chrissy?
Yeah, I would certainly defer to John, but I think the intention is the entirety of what's going to be this accessory apartment is not going to exceed a third of what the principal residence is. So I think one of the questions I had is, is there any possibility putting that bathroom downstairs that you may try to come back in the future to convert that lower level to another accessory apartment, because I think that could present a problem.
Well, you're only
Understood.
allowed one accessory
Can I-
apartment
can I
on the
say-
property.
Right.
But if you include the portion on the ground floor, you do exceed 800 square feet. It's roughly 840 square feet.
And so the other thing that I think it's important to note is that the applicant's here tonight for a special permit because an accessory apartment is a special permit use under the code that's separate from an area variance. So
Right.
this board also has the authority, if they're seeking something that exceeds the square footage or is otherwise not bulk compliant, that's something that this board does have the authority to consider, but that's not before you tonight, and that hasn't been noticed. So if it's possible that this is going to require variances, I don't know that the board, can make a decision on the special permit.
I understand that, and I agree with you. So let's go back and give me, what is 33% of the habitable floor area of the principal building? What's that total number?
Give me a moment. Let me calculate it.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Just going to keep it on the screen here. And if you want to follow along with me while I can.
No, that's okay. Just give us some numbers.
All right, no problem. Okay.
It's labeled as a storage type area, and yet you mentioned that you wanted the bathroom down there in case she's going to do a workout area or something like that. So then it's no longer a storage area. It's either an occupied or a habitable space.
Right. So if we were to remove the shower, would that suffice in terms of keeping it as an accessory bathroom for convenience?
That's one of the reasons why we're bringing up and harping on the 33% and the 800 square feet pursuant to Mr. O'Neill's comments. Because normally what we have in front of us for accessory apartments is in the main building itself, and it really conforms to, a one bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, a living room, with the 33% and no more than 800 feet. So that's why we're backing into, or that's why I'm questioning, what's the 33% of the main building, since that's what we're going to be doing, and that's what's in front of us tonight, hopefully to get a decision. And if it's a necessity to say, hey, listen, you're exceeding and you have to get rid of the bathroom downstairs in the garage, that's something you have to talk to your client to see what you want to go do.
Okay, so random numbers, the existing one family home, the first floor is 2,221 square feet, and 33% of that is 733 square feet. So we definitely would need to I need to speak to them about getting rid of that shower, just to make it an accessory only.
Yes.
And I think you have to realize that once you say you're going to use that storage area for something else, then that has to increase this area as well.
Understood.
So my suggestion.
Hi, can I say something?
Sure. Give your name and address. please?
I'm Rosalind Brown, and I live at 20 Old Albany Post Road.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I just want to give gratitude for all the people who take time out to be a part of this.
Thank you.
I have 6 children, and the assessor here is for my daughter, who wants to be close to me.
Right,
And the way the house is designed there, I don't know if you know, when you're in the back, you need a bathroom. It's kind of hard to get to one. So we wanted us to have that there, access to the storage. And if anybody's there, I needed to do, a storage along with, if we're playing basketball at the area there, if we needed to use it in any way, we'll be able to go there and use it. The shower doesn't have to be there if it's going to create a problem. But as far as the other things, it would be nice for us to be able to go there and not have to bother my daughter in the upstairs.
So John, when the accessory units get approved, is there an amendment to the C of O and states like exactly the uses are? Like that it would state that that ground floor could not be used for any type of habitation or anything other than storage?
Yes,
Exactly.
but my concern is that she's mentioning, you know, if the kids come over for basketball, they can go in there. Then it's not a storage unit anymore. And
No,
I
no,
just
no,
want to
no.
clarify this. That's all, because, you know, I hate to see
Sorry.
something happen in the future.
Sorry, we're not saying that kid's going to come over for the basketball. I'm just saying if we're in that storage area with whatever storage and we have to go to a bathroom, that's why I said if you have to take out the shower, it's fine. I don't have any problem with showers coming out, and you could put something in that says it cannot be used for whatever else. We have no problem with that. I would like to have the extra bathroom where someone could get there without having to have to go into the main house or having to have to go into the other area.
right, and how many feet does that add on, taking out the shower and just having the bathroom in there?
Having the bathroom only is, so the bathroom is 5 times 4.25. It adds about 20, I could round up to 30 square feet, would still be under
You're saying,
700.
right, I mean, that's the way I would move forward with this. If that's okay with the client. I guess I
Yes.
would go with the toilet and the sink and no shower.
Sure. I mean, we don't have to bathe there, but we just want to be able to access to a bathroom if we're in the backyard.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to skip.
That's okay, no problem, no
I
problem.
was just making notes based on what we're discussing. So there's a wall, we get rid of the shower and we'll move this hot water heater to this location.
Right,
So this added square footage is approximately 30 square feet here. So I'll
Okay.
just do like that.
okay, and this apartment is for your daughter?
Rosalind, you're on.
Yeah,
mute.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it is for my daughter.
Okay.
I want it to be more like, so she could stay close to me.
Okay,
I'm turning retirement age now.
Will there be any children or partners there as well, or is it just for your daughter only?
Well, that apartment would be for my daughter. That
Okay.
apartment. I don't know who, I don't know what her future is going to bring her, but right now it's for her.
okay,
And just for the record, for the board and the public and the applicant, one of the requirements of these accessory apartments is that one of the spaces has to be owner occupied. So even though the board would be approving it based upon these circumstances, those could potentially change in the future, but the owner of the property is going to have to live in one of those spaces, either the main house or the accessory apartment in perpetuity. Not this specific owner, but if it's sold, in the future, that condition would remain.
But that would be noted on the CFO though, correct?
That's a requirement in the code.
Yeah, okay.
basically what we're saying is that you can't have a renter buy the house, rent it out, and then also rent out the accessory apartment,
Right.
Understood.
okay?
Do you understand, Rosalind?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
And you guys should take a look at the code provision that deals specifically with accessory apartments.
That is 200-31.2 accessory apartments on single family lots.
Okay, 200-31.2?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
All right, and other questions from other board members?
Well, this just helps me because that document of accessible buildings is quite lengthy, and I appreciate Christie clarifying. Are we saying then that in the final document given to this family, that they understand that this is a family structure for the owners of that property?
Yes.
It doesn't,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
it doesn't, sorry, Sal, it doesn't necessarily have to be a family.
Okay,
But the owner of the property has to live there. So yeah, it can't just be a rental property with two different units for rental. So, if the applicant's daughter does, decide to move on and go somewhere else, it could conceivably be rented in the future as long as the applicant continues to live there.
Okay, so this would be correct then. Owner has to live on property.
Right, I
Yes.
mean, that's part of the accessory apartment rules came in. It's not like a mother-daughter. This is accessory apartments it was put onto the books to help with affordable housing. It's more so now that we have seen a combination of both, family members coming in and or additional income for the family that owns the main house and renting an apartment.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right, so any other board members?
But Tom, to your point, I can certainly, depending upon what the board decides upon this evening, prepare a resolution memorializing this discussion that will be provided to the applicant and made a part of their building department file, so that in the future, it's clear what was discussed this evening in terms of removing the shower and constraints on the use of that existing first floor garage level, as well as the other conditions that are required by the code.
I think it's really,
Yeah.
I think it's very important, Sal, that this be done. It makes it clear for the family, but also if the property moves to another owner.
Of course, no, it would only be done that way if
Good.
we approve it.
Yep.
I mean, that's why there were so many questions.
Yep.
Before we move forward, since we're still into the public, any other individuals on the Zoom meeting that have any comments to this? Okay.
If there's anyone from the public, if you could raise your hand or use your raise hand icon. If you'd like to speak on this, it's 20 Old Albany Post Road.
Okay.
Don't see
I'd
it.
like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second,
Second,
thank you. I'd like to put a vote to the board to approve the accessory apartment according to 200-31.2 with the additional information that was discussed this evening with the shower and other items, especially with the insulation. And our attorney will put everything in writing, and the applicant and their architect will come forward once this is approved and build according to all of the rules and regulations as we discussed this evening. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Tom Wills, aye.
Can I say hi?
Yep. Aye. Oh, unanimous?
David,
no. I'm voting against.
Who's voting against?
David O'Neill.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
they should-
Okay, due to the fact that we are down one member, and correct me if I'm wrong,
you still have a majority.
we have the
correct,
majority, so.
We have members Krieger, Wills, and Chairman Carrera that voted in favor.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
let's
Thank
just
you very much.
move forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice meeting everyone.
Thank you. Great
Same.
presentation. Nice
Take
job.
care.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Just one piece of asshole. Okay, making.
Okay, on to the next public hearing. Public hearing notice is hereby given that a public hearing on the Town of Austining Zoning Board of Appeals will be held on Monday, May 16, 2022 at 7:30 PM on the application of John M. Riley, AIA, for property owners Jessica and Samuel Rivera, 5 McCarthy Drive, Town of Austining. The meeting will be held via Zoom video conferencing using the login information. The property is located at 5 McCarthy Drive in the unincorporated area of the Town of Austining, identified on the tax map of the Town of Austining as section 89.07, block 3, lot 15, in an R20A one-family residential zoning district. The applicant is seeking an area variance for the terms of the zoning code of the Town of Austining, chapter 200-21, one-family residences and residential districts, paragraph C. The maximum floor area of a one-family residence shall be equal to 5,000 plus lot area minus 43,560 times 0.052521. The applicant is seeking a variance of 527 feet to build 2 rear additions and 1 raised main deck. Application materials and plans prepared by John M. Riley, AIA, 70 Main Street, Huntington, New York, 11743, titled Additions and Alterations, Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Rivera, 5 McCarthy Drive, Austining, New York, dated March 15, 2022, are available for public inspection at the Town of Austining Building Department. All interested persons are invited to attend the public hearing to be heard on this matter. The public can send written comments by email to buildingdepartment@townofaustining.com or regular mail to the Town of Austining Zoning Board of Appeals, Austining, New York. Please feel free to contact our office by phone if you need any additional information. Zoning Board of Appeals, 914-762-8419. By order of the Zoning Board of Appeals, Sal Carrera, Chairman, dated May 6, 2022. With regards to this application, before we get into it, again, for the record, we are down 1 member. So again, if a decision is rendered this evening, it would have to be with the majority. And number 2 is that I will read into the record 2 letters that I received with regards to this application. One is of Kelly Henrik. I am a resident at 76 Cedar Lane, Austining, New York, 10562. My house sits directly in back of 5 McCarthy Drive, Town of Austining. While of course I am sympathetic that one of the residents of 5 McCarthy Drive is in a wheelchair, I would ask that not be a factor into making a decision about this addition. My biggest concern is the storm runoff and potential environmental impact. On the application, the question for 17A, will storm flow to adjacent properties, was answered incorrectly. The storm runoff would undoubtedly flow into my yard and my house. The property is at 5 McCarthy, is at a higher elevation, and the yard slopes down to my house. We are also on a well, and I am concerned the runoff could contaminate our drinking water. The zoning laws are in place for a reason, and I respectfully ask that this permit be denied because of the potential harm it would do to the neighborhood properties. I am also happy to come to inspect my property, and it's a potential harm if this project is approved. I'm also going to send a screen sheet and pictures in a separate mail. Thank you for your help and consideration. Kelly Henrik, 76 Cedar Lane, Austining, New York. With regards to that, I have to assume that Kelly Hendrick and Patrick Lemire of 76 Cedar Lane hired an architect, and the architect wrote to myself and the board, and I will read it. I am writing on behalf of Kelly Hendrick and Patrick Lemire of 76 Cedar Lane in Austining. My client's property abuts the subject property to the west. sharing a lengthy lot line. The concept of this letter represent my professional opinion and advice as an architect resident in the state of New York, and are in no way representative of thoughts or conclusions of any land use board I serve on. I have reviewed the plans and elevations submitted with this application and note that the scope of work is designed to add a large master bedroom suite and a large living area on the main floor, as well as on a ground floor recreational space. The total project is adding 979 square feet. To achieve this, the applicant is requesting a 527 square foot variance, nearly 15% beyond what is allowed. Central to the application is the bedroom addition that is listed on the site plan as one-story addition. It is in reality a two-story addition and includes a partly enclosed screened-in porch beneath, in which is not subject to the requested variances. While not calculated in the FAR, it remains a substantial contributor to the volume of the proposed building. For purposes of illustrating why the variance as proposed should be denied, we point to the ZBA's guiding standards for evaluating area variance requests. Below, we lay out each of the required consideration of the zoning board per 200-45-3-B, and to note each with the relevant concerns we have with the current application. One, whether an undesirable change be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of this variance. And now this is the comments by the architect. The proposed intervention will result in a significantly increase in volumetric area located in close proximity to my client's property. Notably, the nearby 15 area variance does not include the lower level screened-in porch that will have the effect of amplifying the non-characteristic scale. This proposed project will be grossly out of scale with adjacent properties. Two, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than area variance. We feel strongly that the argument made by the applicant, which is no doubt an important one, regarding accessibility can be achieved without the requested variance. Well over half of the variance request of 527 feet of the 979 feet to be added included is a master bedroom suite with a walk-in closet. That same bedroom covers a screened-in porch beneath, not part of the calculated FAR, which we have noted results in a project much larger than the potential variance would appear to grant. The benefit, as argued by the applicant, is to add accessible indoor and outdoor recreation space. That aim can certainly be achieved while remaining within the allowable FAR. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, the requested 14.5% increase is no doubt substantial. Number four, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district. My client has suffered from stormwater runoff from the subject property. After heavy rains, water drains from the applicant property onto my client's yard and basement. The proposed addition will decrease the permeable surface on this property and no doubt exacerbate the current problem. The imposing volume of the proposed addition will loom closer to the lot line, making my client's property less private. And due to the screened-in porch, that impact will be greater than what appears for the requested 527 feet. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, while consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Board of Appeals, or shall necessarily preclude the granting of such a variance is not applicable. In addition to the above, we know that the applicant likely includes a factual error as the property appears to be within 500 feet of the border of the village of Ossining, located on Cedar Lane. On the application, the applicant marked that the subject is not within 500 feet of any municipal border. We remain concerned that the requested variance request will result in a project that is substantially too large for its neighborhood and will have materially negative impacts on the value of my client's home. While my client is sensitive and sympathetic to the unique needs of their neighbor, they strongly disagree with this variance is the only reasonable means of meeting those needs. That being said, and again, I submit that we are down to one less board member. I will turn this over to the applicant's representative to give a brief presentation, and then we will open it up for additional comments from the board and any comments from the public.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Raleigh. I'm the architect for Sam and Jessica Rivera. We live at 5 McCarthy Drive. We're proposing some additions to their home that exceed the allowed floor area by 527 square feet. Sam and Jessica have been lifelong members of the Assaman community. In 2015, Sam was involved in a train accident on Metro North that left him a quadriplegic. I was involved in preparing drawings for Sam's bedroom and bathroom on the lower level. And he requires a lot of equipment in order to get out of bed, take care of his sanitary health needs, and exercise equipment. And I'll show you on D1 here. You can see the track system that's involved here. His exercise equipment's here. He has a small closet. And then he also has an elevator over here that gets him up and down to the second floor. Otherwise, there's a utility room. And then there's a two-car garage with some storage space where they put a lot of Sam's supplies that he needs. The downstairs area for him occupies 814 square feet and the garage occupies 690. So there's really no family activity that takes place there. It's where he sleeps and gets taken care of. And that's where they store it. They have a garage for cars and storage for his needs. When Sam is upstairs, he has limited mobility and space to recreate in the home. Especially, we're trying to expand the home so that he has more recreational space inside, as well as some outside areas for the milder months. The upper level will have a master suite for Jessica, who works for the family, bringing money in, as well as being Sam's caregiver, during the weekends and when help is not in the house. We are also proposing a family room on the upper level, as well as removing some walls in the living and dining room and kitchen. It's this area in here, to open it up a little bit more for him. This will provide more flexible space for Sam, because as you can see, he requires 5 feet of turnaround. So even maneuvering within these spaces is much better than what he currently lives in. He basically sits right here. He can't do anything else because there's a dining room table here, and there's a table in here as well, and this has all furniture. So he's got a 3-foot hallway here. There's a wall right here, and there's small entrances to these bedrooms. So we're trying to open this up a little so that he actually has access to his wife's master suite, and also has an ability to go down this hallway and peek his head in the door and turn around and get a lot better use of his house. Most of the time, Sam is indoors because he cannot tolerate cool weather. That is why there are fireplaces in both this room, the family room over here, and the recreation room down below. He gets very cold and cannot really tolerate too much. Even light cool weather in the fall and the spring is tough for him to handle. He shivers. So we're hoping these fireplaces will help give him some soothing heat, as well as some more enjoyment of the property and also enjoyment of his home where he can be with his family and recreate with his family, because they don't really have that much usable space upstairs for him to use, and it'd be nice to have his own little rec space off of his bedroom. The lower level will have the recreation room for Sam, as I said. And I have also designed a screened-in patio under the new master bedroom suite. Sam will be able to be outside and enjoy the pool activity, as well as be protected from sun and insects. That's really the idea for the screened-in patio. We have respected all the setbacks in this design and have limited the variance request to the floor area increase only. The additional space is vital to the family's enjoyment of the home. As a paraplegic, Sam just simply needs more space to live and recreate. All the additions at the rear of the home and the property, all the additions at the rear of the home and the property is very deep piece of property. The additions will be more than 100 feet away from the rear property line. The setback for the R20A zone is 34 feet from the rear yard. So we are triple the distance away in this zone. I think the benefit to Rivera's quality of life will be far greater than any detriment to the surrounding neighbors should we grant this variance. The views of the exterior, as you can see, it's very well vegetated. There's a lot of grass, green, very healthy. A couple of bare spots I see here, but for the most part, it's relatively flat. It's not a steep slope. Grant you, it does have a slight slope. And, you know, if there's some things that we can do to maybe berm along the back fence in order to retain more of our water onto our property, we're certainly willing to look at that. We respectfully request that the board grant the variance, considering the hardship that the family and Sam are enduring. Granted, it's personal, but it's very difficult for me to design the house to give him more living space without requesting this one variance. Lot coverage, we're under that. We meet all the setbacks. And I think you'll find that if you look at the elevations of this house that we've designed, the front of the house has no real impact on the community. It hasn't changed how it looks like from the street. The backyard, I think, is aesthetically rather pleasing, and it provides a lot of different ways for him to be able to be outside with his family, enjoying the pool. With that, I'll conclude.
Thank you. From my perspective, and I'm only one vote, the addition of the pool, you know, meets all the requirements with regards to the setback. So I really can't say much with regards to the addition of the pool. I do tend to feel that the request for the 527 feet is excessive to a degree for this neighborhood. And I understand everything that you have said to me, and I take that into consideration, but there are rules and regulations that we try to follow. I do tend to agree with the comments from SPRA, but I'm not an architect. And I'm glad that we have an architect on my board. And I'd really like to know if there's any way to remedy all of these concerns and not get near the 527 feet with a different type of plan. Now, like I said, I'm not an architect, and I would refer over to David. If there's another way of doing this and lowering, you know, that variance.
Yeah, so John, if you don't mind pointing out on the site plan, the kind of neighbor who had the architect review the plans and which property it is, that wasn't clear to me when we first started. Okay.
I believe this is the 76 McCarthy, and isn't that the architect write the letter for 76?
Okay, yeah, I was
Yeah.
curious if their vantage point was from the side or from the rear.
Right. There's
Can you clarify that, what you agreed on? Because I have the lot area map in front of me and I don't see that man's name or that family's name.
Neither did I, and that I didn't know
No.
if it was not up to date, is up to date.
This is the surveyor's.
The
survey
N
plan.
slash, sorry, just to clarify. The N/F means now or formerly.
Or now
So
form-
it's just at whatever point in time this survey was prepared,
Right,
Right.
that was the owner of the property at that point.
right. So,
But yes, my understanding is that the public comment that we received was from the property owner who shares a rear setback.
and that's
Correct.
the old Kushner?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay.
Okay. And could you just explain, I guess, briefly what the difference, say, function-wise between the family room and the recreation room is? Because they have the same general footprint and configuration and
Yeah.
fireplace.
Sure. The family room would be more a bleed out from kitchen activity, as well as, kind of a TV room for the kids, and as well as Sam and the rest of the family. Downstairs is more like his man cave, where he has hobbies and he has collections, and he would like to be able to spend time with some of his friends downstairs amongst his hobby collection, as well as he has some radio cars that he is able to operate and that kind of thing. So it's kind of his recreation space down there. And
Okay.
it also provides him access out onto the patio, because the current door that's there now is only 2'6" wide, I believe. And it's in a brick veneer facade, so ripping it out and redoing it would be not as advantageous as just being able to go out from his new
Right.
space.
So I'm kind of a mixed mind here. I appreciate the attention and detail that has gone into the design to address your client's needs, but I also acknowledge that this is a large, effectively two-story addition on the back of the house. And I'm curious if there are any dimensions that could be modified, to maybe reduce the scale of particularly on the side where the family room and the rec room is, and kind of the wood deck and the covered roof all kind of extend, back, and make the massing kind of extend much further back towards the rear site. If there's anything that can be done to kind of modify it so it's not, not reading as large from the neighbor's vantage point. And then I also share the concerns about making sure that the grading on the site, would address neighbors' concerns about stormwater runoff.
Yeah.
John, is that something that will be addressed at the building permit stage?
I mean, I also have concerns with regards to the pool is allowed because it meets the requirement with the setbacks. But with the pool, with this extra large addition, there's a lot of grass pervious area that is going to be taken away, and I think it's going to exacerbate the current problems, if there really are any, with the neighbor. I just think that, me personally, this is excessive with regards to the amount of a variance that they're requesting on this site. And I agree with David O'Neill. I agree with the SPA architects and a lot of what they're saying, because the area, there's a criteria for area variance, And I think this is a dramatic increase of what you're trying to get out of here. It's, to me, it's almost like, trying to get an elephant into a mouse trap. There's a certain amount of property there, and it's really, really, being saturated with this addition, these additions besides the pool. So I'm in agreement with David to a degree of, what can be done, and no decision has to be made this evening, of coming back with, a different plan that will be, less excessive as what's been presented to us.
Because when I look at the master suite, the room that's roughly 15 by 15, which is not small, in any way, shape or form. And it just seems to me that the family room and the recreation room might be modified to address some of the concerns of the board.
Sandy, yeah.
The recreation room, I've been told by the owner, will also be used to house some of his equipment because he's overflowing with equipment inside his current bedroom. So they were going to put some of that exercise equipment out there as well.
So let's do this.
Mhm.
I'd like to get anybody else on my board have any comments before we go out to the public?
I agree with David.
Well, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I have not driven up to one of our sites that we've had variance twice, but this one I drove by twice. I know the McCarthy Drive is being upgraded. I also noticed that 100-foot backyard line on the neighbor is extensively treed. And that was a surprise because it certainly gives that neighbor tremendous privacy. So, but I agree the general flavor is this request is pushing everything. And I don't know if we have any guidelines for all the extensive patio around this large pool. It just feels like, I think you put it very nicely, Sal, an elephant in a, we're trying to fit an elephant in here.
I mean, again, everybody has their own vote. Just listening to my counterparts, I really don't think this would be approved in the way it's been brought to us right now. And I think it may pay after we hear if there's anybody else in the public that wants to, render their opinion. Is that you go back to the drawing board and come back to us, something that's gonna, pass muster with the four of us. Because as it stands right now, if I took a vote, I don't think you would get approval for this. And I'd rather not say no or take a vote. I'd rather give you, Mr. Riley, the opportunity to speak to your client and come back, and we'll put this on hold for another meeting to see if there's any way, shape, or form of changing the dynamics of this variance.
Basically, you're saying we should go for a continuation on this and for us to go back to the client and see if we can.
Yeah, I mean,
Something out of it.
there are many times, and I've been doing this as the board chair for over 35 years, so this is not new to me. And we like to approve, real good plans. This is excessive. I understand the circumstances, and but I still have your criteria for area variances in the town of Austining, and to me that's the Bible, and that's what I have to try, to adhere to. But I will tell you is that the architect that the neighbor hired, he hit on everything that I would have said without putting it in writing. And my counterparts on the ZBA kind of feel the same way. So again, my recommendation, and I can't tell you what to do, Mr. Riley. I could take a vote and go from there, but I think it just should be postponed and come back with a modified plan that doesn't require such a huge variance and the taking away of so much previous lawn area. And it just doesn't fit into the neighborhood, and that's part of the criteria that would go against you. So I'd rather try you to come up with something that would work. My opinion.
Yeah, if I could just say that, I mean, the other architect, he did say that I was going for a 15% variance, and the actual calculation is 13.5. So
It's still excessive. I mean, you can say 10, you can say 12. Yeah,
I hear the board, sir. Yes.
Yeah, no. I mean, I listen. To me, knowledge is power. I listen to everybody. I'm very fortunate to have Mr. O'Neill, who is an architect.
Sure.
But without even being an architect, just looking at it from the criteria for an area variance, this is overkill. I understand that the space is needed, but in this neighborhood, on this lot area, and what they're trying to do, I go back to an elephant into a mousetrap, and that's what I think is trying to happen here. So again.
Well, can I request a postponement at this time and not go back to my client?
Yes. I don't have a problem with that. I'd like to hear if there's any other comments so that the people in the public could voice their opinion, yay or nay, so that we get a flavor for everybody else that's out there, which we do listen to and take into consideration. But the bottom line with the board members is that we have to make our decisions on the criteria for an area variance. So I'll open it up to members of the public, if anybody's out there, to name and address and your opinion, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, the first speaker will be Jessica Rivera, who is the applicant.
Hi, I was just going to comment on the size of the bottom room, the rec room. My husband has a stand-up frame. He has an exercise machine. He has an FES bike. We have a couple more machines, and we own 3 wheelchairs. 2 of them are power, and 1 is manual because we needed to stand up on the stand-up frame. So the size of the room, I understand that it's big, but I have a lot of medical equipment that he requires to use so that he doesn't spaz out as much. His muscles, his legs, I'm able to move them and they're not as tight. So, he needs like the FS machine so that he can work on his legs, certain things. And you need space for those machines. I just can't pile up one next to each other. Right now they're in his room and they're piled up next to each other. And we have a hard time to put him on certain machines because the space is so limited. So that's why we require a bigger space for the rec room. I don't want to put the exercise machines upstairs in the living room. I mean, it would make no sense. I have visitors and my exercise machine is upstairs. So that's why I required the bigger space downstairs.
Thank you for the information. Sandy, anybody else?
The next speaker with their hand up is Kelly Herrick.
Hi, I reside at 76 Cedar Lane, which is right in the back of 5 McCarthy. And if you go and look at the houses, it's on a hill and any water would come down. I really, really appreciate you recognizing that this plan was overkill and was too large. I'm sure they could create a beautiful space within their lot line. And more, I don't want to be unsympathetic, but this could do damage to our house, and we're on a well, and pool water and runoff and pesticides could get in. And I'm really concerned about the health of the property, the look of the neighborhood. and the lack of privacy that would be afforded. So thank you for your consideration. And this property was purchased by them after Mr. Rivera had his accident. So they chose this house after this whole thing had happened. So I'm sure that they could come up with a plan that's within the variances to accommodate and give him the accessibility he needs.
Thank you.
Can I just clarify something there, Sal?
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure that the last speaker understands the pool is not part of this, whether they
Yeah,
grant or deny this variance. The pool is in conformance, so it really has nothing to do with it when you mention the pool water. I just want you to be aware that it has nothing to do with this. If they put an application for a pool, it looks like it'll meet all the criteria. So I just wanted to make sure that the previous speaker was aware of that.
John, just to address the other point that was just raised, with drainage and runoff, is that something that gets looked at the building permit stage?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first I'm hearing that there's a water runoff problem, because normally people call us to tell us that water is being diverted onto their property. But we look at this and we ask, how are you going to handle your water runoff? And they have to submit a diagram to us showing that they're not going to artificially divert any water onto an adjoining property.
yeah, that's part of the questions we have with the amount of coverage. And John is correct, and that's why I said it previously, is that this really has nothing to do with the pool. The pool is allowed because it meets the criteria. I happen to have a pool at my home, and I understand about runoff, but the only time water comes out of that pool is when I pump it down the driveway into a storm system when the season is over and I empty it. Most other times it's nothing. What concerns me about the pool area, which is allowed, but the pool area and the additions are going to take up quite a bit of lawn area that already soaks up, rain and moisture. And that is a concern for me, and how it would have to be addressed if this moved forward for any type of approval, whether it's for the 500 some odd feet that's being asked for now, or in a postponement where they come back with a different set of plans. But that will definitely be looked at, and how it's going to be rectified. But as we said, you have 4 board members that have a lot of concerns, and this is not just an easy yes, I think it's great, let's just go do this. There's concerns here, so that's why at this point I'd rather not take a vote and just talk to the architect and come back with a different plan, if that's what you want to do. Anybody else? Sandy?
Well, I think that, I've already stated that we'll postpone and come back if that's acceptable to the board.
Chrissy, can you guide us that it'll be this postponed and adjourned until a future date?
Mr. Riley, do you have any idea how much time you think you'll need to kind of regroup and make either a revised submission or advise the board that you're ready to come back?
How often does the board meet?
Well, that's kind of why I'm asking, because the board doesn't really have regular meeting dates. So generally it meets the designated meeting dates are the first and third Monday of the month. So I was going to ask the board members first, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, if June 20th, which is the third Monday of June, is a date that would work for you, and if that's something that the applicant could comply with getting the board some more information in advance of that.
Yeah, I think we can meet that date.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Mr. Riley?
Yes, I believe we can meet that date.
Okay.
So the board members, we may need to I don't know if you can make that determination right now. I know we're getting into the summer at that point of the year.
That'd be June 20th?
Yes.
Yeah, as of today, I don't have a problem.
That would work on my end, but I think once it goes into late June, July, there's a period where I wouldn't be available.
Yeah, that's why I want to try to do it before we get into,
Well, it's fine with me. I assume we would do Zoom, so I could take care of it that way if it's going to be.
Sure.
I may not be here otherwise.
If I can interject, I believe June 20th is a town holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
okay, so
I think
I-
June 6th is really pushing it for Mr. Riley. I mean,
how about how about we just, the board's going to take a motion to adjourn the public hearing until the next scheduled zoning board meeting.
fine.
Okay with me.
Yeah, I don't want to push the architect. I think there has to be sufficient time to discuss this with the client, knowing where we all feel at this stage of the game. And we're here. I mean, we'll do the best we can to accommodate any dates, even into the summertime, and we'll just have to, take a chance.
So
So why don't we take a vote on a postponement? And
Can I
then-
ask one last question? I'm sorry.
That's it.
Mr. Riley, we've been talking a lot about the surface area, et cetera. Have you done the calculations, including the pool area on impervious surface? Does it conform to the town code?
Yeah, the lot coverage calculation is in the upper left of this plan.
If I could see that, I wouldn't have these on.
Yes, I know. Let me get to it. So 7,120 square feet is allowed. The total impervious was 6,807.
Okay, so you meet the requirement for impervious surface. Actually, you're under it.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
So
want to
that's
know.
why I was saying, we met lot coverage, we met setbacks, we were only asking for one variance.
Thank you.
You will.
Okay, Chrissy, we want to do,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you could just ask for a motion from the board to adjourn this public hearing to be continued at the next noticed zoning board meeting.
okay, board members, are you
So
in
moved.
agreement?
A second to the
Yes.
motion.
Okay, let the record show that we'll ask for an adjournment to a future date for Mr. Riley to discuss whatever he can come up with his clients and come back to us at the next available date. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Riley, for your time and patience and answering all our questions. And we look forward to discussing this with you shortly.
All right, thank you, members of the board, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Right.
And members of the board, if we could just have a motion to adjourn.
Merce, you got motion to adjourn?
Second.
Sandy, can you stay on for a few minutes with me? Thanks. Okay,
Okay,
adjourned.
okay. Bye, folks.
Can I,
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
okay, Sandy, I want to try to see why I can't get this camera to work.
Sal, we still have members of the public on.
Oh, close the public hearing.
No, yeah, okay, do you need me for anything? Otherwise, I'll let you guys,
We always need you, Chrissy.
I'll hang
always.
out.
All right, thank you so much for your help tonight. Thank you so much.
Bye,
I
Sandy. Bye,
appreciate
Sal.
it.
Take care.
And listen, we're all on the same page. We all understand. Let's see what
Yeah.
we get.
No, I think it's, it's a good